Hi, this is Zak Mir with the US Chartbreakers here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Saturday, the 3rd of May. Starting off with Adaptive, and here you can see there's been a rising trend channel in place since basically the beginning of last year. Top of the channel there heading for $13.20. We had an unfilled gap to the upside through resistance, which is normally a very strong signal, especially when the low of the day basically at the old resistance around $8.80. Above $8.80 on an end of day close basis, looking for the $13.20 level by the end of this month or even sooner. Nice to see the 50-day line there at $7.80 also rising well. This stage hopefully will stay above that old resistance with that move on Friday. Moving on to Agrify, and here pictures of I suppose consolidation, which has been in place since well, basically the start of the year, but looks like we're finally emerging from the darkness above that 50-day line there at $18, basically looking for the top of that triangle there from December, heading as high as $32. Once again, that could be seen by the end of this month. Any dips towards that 50-day line in the meantime, which was the old resistance area from earlier this month, around $19, regarded as a long opportunity. Next up on the list, another stock beginning with A, and here Airsculpt with a beautiful U-shaped turnaround and gapping on the right side of that, which is again normally a show of strength, but a bullish divergence there as well. Lower lows going into April, but higher RSI trace, so nice detail there. And looking for the top of that falling trend channel converging triangle, rather at $3.50 over the next few days. Ideally, we get back to the $6 level by the end of this month. And ideally, there's no end of day close back below the gap, the floor of the gap there at $2.30. Next up is a stock which I think we've covered a few days ago, but it's back again, Cuprina. And here, a rising trend channel. The problem here is to try and guess where the top of the channel is. At the moment, we're looking for $8 and looking for that certainly while we're above recent resistance around the $5 level, while there's no end of day close back below that $8, hopefully by the end of this month or even sooner. Always fun to look at those situations where there isn't very much charting data. Another end of day close above that spike there around $5.80 would be just what the doctor ordered. Next up, and got Cooper Standard, and here another stock which has gapped through resistance. As I said, normally a good sign, especially when it's a second gap and also when it's after a bear trap from below that rising trend channel, below the $13.60 area. The current situation is that we're heading towards the top of that rising trend channel from the early part of last year, beginning of last year. Minimum here seen to be as high as $24, which hopefully will be seen in or hit in just a few days. If you look back, you can see there's been all sorts of excitement here, and the main resistance there actually towards $27.50 from way back in 2022. Moving along to a more famous company, probably one everyone's heard of, which is Duolingo, and here shares rising like there's no tomorrow. Amazing breakout there that we're getting at the moment after a long time building up to this. We've had two unfilled gaps to the upside. We had the gaps down, or the gap down back in February, so it's a bear trap island reversal. Double bounce there with a higher low, and normally the case, if you see a bear trap island reversal, i.e. going to new near-term lows and then gapping up again, it tends to be even stronger than seeing that at the bottom of the range. The resistance line projection there from last September heading towards $562. Looking for that now by the end of this month, especially while we remain above the $4.50 area, which was the peak there at the end of February. Onto a stock which we looked at quite recently as well, and that has been Classover here. Interestingly enough, we looked at it before the gap up that we had on Friday. Interesting to see that the shares try to get through that 50-day line of $7.48. End of day close above that, we could be looking at $12, albeit this is a very volatile situation. And ideally, there's no end of day close back below the floor of the gap there, $5.40. Even better if it stays above the low of Friday's range there, just above $6. Moving along to another situation which may have legs over the near term, and it is Freight Technologies. Here, seen the shares trying to rebuild after obviously a very painful looking left-hand side of the chart there. What's interesting here is that the old resistance, they're around $2.40. I want to see an end-of-day close above that so that we can retest Friday's peak at $3.49. So that would be the setup. Obviously, no end-of-day close back above that old $2.30 level means or suggests that this will be a failure for that situation. Moving through to Fulcrum, and here less fraught. I think here you've got a nice U-shaped turnaround. We've broken through the old resistance, the initial 2025 resistance there around $5, above $5. Looking at the top of that rising trend channel base as high as $7.40 by the end of this month. That would also go a long way to closing that gap down that we had back in September from the $8.40 area. One of the strongest charting setups is the U-shaped turnaround, especially when it's accompanied with gaps, both on the way down and on the way up, which is we've had with hims and hers. Here you can see a nice consolidation bouncing basically at the falling 50-day moving average there at $33.37 and breaking through recent neckline resistance at $38.60. Above that, especially above the 50-day line, looking for the top of that rising trend channel, $75 perhaps as soon as the end of next month. Looking for a move echoing the January-February move that we had before the shares tumbled. Solid is next, Solid Biosciences that is, and here the shares having another go at revitalizing themselves. Here we've broken out of this falling falling triangle rather, and broken above recent resistance around $3.70. And what we'd like to see now is further gains above the 50-day moving average, $4.19, to give us the chance of moving up to $8, perhaps as soon as the end of this month. Maybe we'll see a repeat of the February rally in the shares, even though it does appear here that whenever there is a rally in the stock, somebody's quite keen on going short, as we had in on several occasions last year. But at least while we're above the recent resistance, broken resistance in the $3.70 area, this does look like a recovery situation. Moving on to the last two. The first one is Wolfspeed, and here trying to regroup after again another rather painful bear run. What's interesting here is that we managed to close above the 50-day moving average at $4.28. That leaves us looking to the top of that falling trend channel shown there in red, $5.66. Best case by the end of this month would be up to $8.50 if this is indeed the turning point in the stock. What helps is that it's effectively a bear trap island reversal, so gapping down and then gapping up on the right-hand side, and quite a U-shape or saucer shape there, which gives extra momentum to the upside argument, as does the way that we bounced off RSI 50 versus around the 60 level at the moment. But maybe the RSI, or hopefully the RSI, will be the leading indicator, and we're looking for recovery here, at least while we're above recent support there, around $3.40. Finishing off with arguably the best of the bunch in the recent past, which has been Zhengye, and here the reason for saying that is that we managed to hit our first target there around $10.50, and rather helpfully on Friday, shares bouncing off the old target area around that $10 mark and trying to head for the next level up as high as $16, hopefully over the next few sessions. But any dips towards that $10 zone now look as though they are buying opportunities, helped along with the RSI rebound above neutral 50. That's it for me today. More updates during the week.